everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Questions for Warren and his white friends. Nolan's best friend, and Warren even called Nolan his brother, Art. He even called him his brother. He said they spent the night together before they went out to White Devil's Horn Island, Art. The night before, July 3rd, they stayed in the same home. How do you stay in the same home with somebody, Art, and leave them on an island? How do you sleep in the same house with somebody July 3rd and then leave them on an island July 4th? But I got a few questions for Warren. No disrespect. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I got a few questions for you, Warren. Since you could sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Coon, I need you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. So you can sit down and interview with Officer B.T. Coon, I want you to sit down and interview with Dr. Umar Ifatunde. My first question to Warren, you said that Nolan is a best friend of yours, that he's like a brother. I have a question. If Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on that island, especially when you all were drinking? Because somebody put a report out there, Art, that Nolan had been drinking heavily and was intoxicated. Of course, that allegation was dismissed because the coach who contacted Sister Christine confirmed that he spoke to Nolan between 2:30 and 3:30 and Nolan was not intoxicated. So they lied to protect their friends because white people are always on code, Art. Not a single white person on that island dropped a dime yet. Not one of them. So anyway, Art, they tried to blame it on him being drunk. So he was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. That's the narrative they wanted us to swallow. He was just a drunk black kid who walked into the water and drowned. And remember, Art, Sheriff Ledbetter allegedly ruled the case an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. He ruled Nolan's death an accidental drowning before he did any investigation. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. As far as I'm concerned, that meets the definition of public corruption. But staying with Warren, Art. Warren, if Nolan is your brother and best friend, why did you leave him on an island without his cell phone and his keys? Why did you take his cell phone and keys back to the mainland? You left him there and took his cell phone and keys back. Can you please explain that to me? What person wants to be on an island without their phone? Help me understand that, Warren. I don't know of an 18-year-old who wants to be anywhere without their phone, Art. They don't want to be in school without their phone. They don't want to be at home without their phone. They don't want to be out of town without their phone. They don't want to be at the mall, the movies, the restaurant. They don't want to be nowhere without their phone, let alone on an island with no way to get off. You left your best friend on an island, your so-called brother. You left him on an island with no way to get off, and you took his phone and his keys. Can you explain that to me, Warren? While you're thinking about it, I got another question for you, Warren, while you're thinking about it. You said at 11 o'clock, you called Miss Christine to see if she heard from her son. Warren said, Art, I called Miss Christine to see if she heard from Nolan. She said she had not heard from Nolan. Can I ask you a question, Warren? If you took his phone, how in the hell was his mother supposed to hear from her son when you have the son's phone?
This is absolutely a great question. Shout out to Dr. Umar and Art of the Dialogue for having this conversation. I don't know an 18-year-old who goes without their phone at any given time. My 15-year-old, my 17-year-old, myself personally, even if I'm at the pool, I still have my phone in the vicinity of me. I've been to many beaches. Even though I don't want to get my phone wet, Actually, when I go to the beach, I have my phone inside of a little plastic case thing that which reminds me I need to get a new one because I realized the one I have is not fit for my app 17 Pro Max, so it's too small. So I need to get another one. But I still have a case where I can use my phone. So, and I know these kids have it because or they have one. A lot of kids use them now. Everybody uses them. So if I'm going somewhere, I can keep my phone and don't have to risk it getting wet. So, yeah, I believe that, somebody had a phone and he could have made a call to somebody if he were alive. But unfortunately, he wasn't. And nobody's telling. Nobody's giving up any answers. Nobody's snitching except for Katie. Katie's trying to clear her name and her conscience.
Did you tell Miss Christine that you had her son's phone when you called her? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. Think about that, Art. He called the mother and asked her if she heard from her son. But he knows she didn't hear from her son, Art, because he has her son's phone. How can the mother hear from Nolan when you have Nolan's cell phone and you left him on an island? And I bet you didn't tell her you had his phone. Because if she knew you had his phone, Art, she would not have had to use Life 360 to find the phone. If you had his phone and you called her at 11 o'clock to see if Nolan was okay, why didn't you tell Nolan's mom you had his phone? Why did my sister Christine and my sister Tashima have to use Life 360 to find their son's phone? Because you playing games. You playing games. You playing in our face like we stupid. That's what this is. I don't know if he did it, Art, but he damn sure knows who do. I allege and I believe that all 30 of those white kids on all 3 of them boats know exactly which one of them did it, and the rest of them are covering it up. And guess what, Warren? And the rest of you 30 white kids on those 3 boats, let me explain something to you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody didn't tell you. Federal hate crimes law, you can go to jail for the rest of your life in case nobody told you. Guess what? The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, you can go to jail for up to 30 years. And if Nolan was unalived by more than one person, that constitutes a lynching. That constitutes a lynching. So you can go to jail for up to 30 on the Emmett Till Act. You can go to jail for life on the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Hate Crimes Act. And in the state of Mississippi, Art, if you are an accessory after the fact, not accomplice. Accomplice means you participated in the murder. Accessory means you helped cover it up afterwards. If you are an accessory to the fact after the fact, Art, you can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law.
Now, there's a lot of people that could possibly be accessories after the fact, especially because everyone was on that boat. Everyone, if the phone call that came in is accurate and actually depicts somebody saying that, oh, he's dead, and they're yelling at Bart for something, everybody who saw that is an accessory or of some sort. But I'm just curious of when somebody's going to start telling. Like, it's for it to be that many people on this island, it's hard to say that no one heard anything. Okay? If somebody knows something more than what is being told, and it's actually scary that you got this many people and no one is talking.
So they can go to jail for up to 20 years, Mississippi law. Accessory after the fact, you helped to cover up the crime. You can go to jail for 30 years on the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, because more than one of you probably participated in Nolan's unaliving. And under the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Federal Hate Crimes Act, Art, they can go to jail for life. And this is why I need Nolan's step, pop, and coach to watch what comes out of their mouth and stop trying to help these white kids avoid accountability for what they did to Nolan. Because if the tables will turn, white folks are not going to try to help your child avoid any accountability. So stop the cooning.
That's a fact. Because we seen what happened in the other case with Carmelo Anthony. There wasn't too many white people that were there was white people defending Carmelo Anthony about the situation, but the narrative behind Carmelo Anthony, the racism was speaking louder than everything. So now it's the opposite way around, where there's a black kid dead, and instead of, no, I'm not gonna victimize the kid, or I'm not gonna villainize the other teams, his friends, because I don't know if they did anything. I'm not saying that they did. I don't know, but if it were the other way around, and there was a white kid that ended up dead, and there was some black kids that were with him, his last known whereabouts were with black kids, you would see the racism out loud. Anyway, let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section.